Do another one. Good morning. Welcome to the UU community of Halifax. My name is Ben Robbins, and I am glad to be your minister. Let's give a moment for that ring to stop. Happy Mother's Day. There's a picture I love of me and my mom when I was a toddler. We're in a lake near the shore, and she is holding me to keep me afloat. And we're looking at each other with these beaming smiles on our faces. Yeah, just pure joy. And some might say it's moments like this that make all the effort worthwhile. And of course, the parent-child relationship can be complicated, so on Mother's Day, we also honor your experience, whatever it was. And thank you for all you do to mother another human or to mother the world. Please see the announcements in the order of service and note that today at noon we have a session of building your own theology. Today's theme is ethics. What is the right thing to do? Next Sunday after the service is a planning meeting for the People's Parade for Life on Earth. Bring ideas for costumes or a float, and get in touch with Margaret Galbraith with any questions. And please save the date for June 15th. June 15th, we're having a potluck barbecue after the service at Leslie and Alan Shaw's house here in the city. Thank you. There's lots of room around here if you want. Thank you to our volunteers and staff who make our Sunday services possible. Amy Moonshadow is service assistant. We have Riley Friesen on tech, Tristan Kellaway on keys, and a special thank you today to our volunteer board as we prepare for our annual general meeting in 2 weeks. And if you are new or we haven't met, I would love to say hi after the service. And now we have Amy Moonshadow with our land and climate acknowledgement.
We acknowledge that we are meeting today on ancestral, unceded land of the Mi'kmaq people. The peace and friendship treaties of the 18th century remind us all that we are still treaty people. In keeping with our UU principles, we commit ourselves to collaboratively move towards truth, reconciliation, and equity for the Indigenous, Black, and other marginalized people who experience systemic oppression in our communities. We are also called to address the human-caused climate crisis threatening us here on Earth. Yes, I know. I was just looking for that. Our child's lighting words are by Lisa Garcia Sampson. In these wild, historic, and uncertain times, we gather to remember who we are, who we belong to, and what we are called to do. As we light this chalice, we kindle the spirit of the great turning of the movement for justice alive in this nation today. May we feel it in our bones, and in the stillness of this hour. May we sense it calling our name. There is a trick to this, the angle. You have to hold.
I grew up in a Unitarian congregation, and then I went off to explore the world. And when I was ready to, yeah, you've done that too, Muriel? Yep. When I was ready to come back, I learned about a young adult group that met once a month. One time we met down by the water. Another time we went for a walk on a path in the woods, and a photo of that walk was my laptop background for years. It was simple camaraderie. And I didn't know it at the time, but several of the people in the group were extremely dedicated to creating a better world. Several went on to become ministers, others to become congregational leaders or even national leaders. All I knew is that their company felt good. September rolled around and it was time for the young adult weekend at UNICamp, which is a UU campground. The first thing we did was gather around the chalkboard in the dining hall. We made a schedule for the weekend: hikes, swimming, crafting, music making. And we made a list of how we were going to treat each other. Be respectful, share the airwaves, things like that. It was a good weekend. Yes, it was a vacation, but there were a lot of ways that you can have a vacation. This group decided to live their deepest values, deepest principles. And like I said, many in the group were going on to become change makers in the world, and I like to think that this weekend was one of the seeds that we planted to help that grow. Please rise, embody our spirit for our opening hymn. It's number 38 in the gray hymnal, number 38. Morning has broken and words are going up on the screens.
Yes.
is now time for our offering.
Joys and sorrows.
I'm sorry.
It's on the same sheet.
We now have time for joys, sorrows, and complex truths. We bring our hearts into the sacred space of community and open them up to each other and for each other so that those of us who carry pain might be comforted by the presence of a loving community. So those of us who are happy might share the joy and see it multiply in others. And so that those of us who carry complex truths might find a welcoming space to process the meaning making in your life. And this is our communal well, and it holds all of our stories. The water can remind us of our connection to all life and to the earth itself. If you have a joy, sorrow, or a complex truth in your heart, and you want to speak it to community, we invite you to share and place a stone in this well. You might also place a stone in silence. If you are willing, so please speak from near the well so that the other people and those on Zoom can hear us. And Faith has a great microphone that you need to use.
Push the top button to turn the yellow light off.
Yellow light off. I have a sorrow. Marilyn Chenier lost her husband this week. Frank passed away after a lengthy illness. And we hope Frank's soul is at peace. I will drop a stone for her.
Marilyn asked me to say she would prefer to not get phone calls for now, and she'll see us soon.
I have a special joy today. My only sister is sitting right here next to me. And she is here for a fairly short visit, and I am very happy that she sits here next to me.
Welcome.
Yes, welcome. Let's go online to Pam.
Well, I have a great joy. I'm speaking to you from Bedford, surrounded by boxes, but I moved and I was going to drive in. I was coming to church this morning. I was all ready to go. And my friend who has been keeping my cats for me during the long months of trying to sell my house managed to trap them overnight. So I'm not there, but my cats are here.
We'll put in a stone for you. And one for Barbara is joy that her sister is visiting.
I have a joy that's been long, long overdue. 35 years of heavy medications and all that good stuff. 2 weeks ago, the doctor hit on something that's been fantastic. I haven't had so much energy in the last 2 weeks in 35 years. And yeah, not sleeping like a cat anymore.
Do you want to put a...
Oh, yeah, sure. So put a nice big stone.
I just want to put a stone in for the joys of friendships and mothers. So Angela's online. Hi, Angela. Happy Mother's Day. We met in this church and have raised our kids together, and now she's pretty far away. And my friend Irina and Deb, meeting Deb sort of a neighbor, but also like sort of meeting here through the youth group. So just a lot of joy there.
I'm going to put in a stone in memory of my mother, Mary Elizabeth DeGear Atkinson McIntosh. That was a mouthful. But anyways, and that, that I have the strength to be here because of the great teachings that she gave me over the life that, And of course, what do I do when I wake up? I clean my fingernails. Because I'm thinking, yes, if my mother was here, she would be inspecting. But you don't go to church with dirty fingernails.
Good morning, I'm Andrea. It's my first Mother's Day without my children present, since I'm living here in Halifax and my kids are in Ontario, but I had wonderful visits with them. My daughter Artemisia was here 2 weeks ago, and my son Mackenzie and his partner just left yesterday, so I've had the warmth of their companionship, and I'm just celebrating them as beautiful humans who are bringing their own version of light into the world, and now our relationship is transitioning from sort of parent-child to adult-child, adult-parent. And I'm really, really enjoying that transition as they become caregivers to me, and I remain a caregiver to them. I also really want to acknowledge all of those of you in the room who are motherless children. I'm also parenting a teenager who lost her mom 2 years ago, and I think it's a grief that continues to transform and change us, and that we continue to grieve over the course of our lives. So my wish for all of you who are motherless children to find solace, and also to honor, as Amy has done, the legacy of your mothers, whatever that was for you. It's a big one.
And I will do one final stone for all that remains in our hearts. And Tristan now has a musical meditation for us. It is Periscope by, is it Bill Evans? By Bill Evans.
music, Periscope by Bill Evans, was played just so beautifully. I think, people were wanting to clap. Now it is time for our offering. The work of this community is made possible by the donations of our time, talent, and money. Thank you for however you give, and we trust that you will give however much is right for you. Most and many can donate by monthly e-transfer, but we also pass the basket. And thank you to the basket passer. Today, the basket goes to our operating fund. Whatever your situation, thank you for being part of this community. Please rise in body or spirit for our offertory hymn, number 18, What Wondrous Love. The words will go up on the screen.
I will begin my reflection with a poem by Khalil Gibran. It is said that before entering the sea, a river trembles with fear. She looks back at the path she has traveled from the peaks of the mountains, the long winding road crossing forests and villages. And in front of her, she sees an ocean so vast that to enter there seems nothing more than to disappear forever. But there is no other way. The river cannot go back. Nobody can go back. To go back is impossible in existence. The river needs to take the risk of entering the ocean, because only then will fear disappear. Because that's where the river will know it's not about disappearing into the ocean, but of becoming the ocean. Andrea Curry wrote a book about leaving home and finding her way home. You might have been here when she spoke here, was it a year or two ago? And she was also a member here back in the 90s. Andrea's book launch is this Tuesday at Halifax Central Library. I'll be there, Brian will be there, Pam Griffin-Hody will be there, probably others. Love to see you there. Andrea was adopted at a very young age. Her parents did their best, but the best they knew was to use harsh discipline that was cruel without being effective. Cruelty sucks, and there was the extra layer that she felt like a misfit. She grew up in a suburban lifestyle of 1970s Winnipeg. Now, a lot of people felt alienated in that context, but she had the deeper issue that she had been taken from her birth home in the 60s scoop. And it was years later she found out that she was Métis, a Métis girl adopted into a European-Canadian family. From the book, I learned the phrase blood memory, the theory that over thousands of years, culture can influence our DNA. So if your people lived, this is my example, if your people lived near the ocean for thousands of years, you might feel more at home near the ocean. If you lived inland, it might not feel quite right. So Andrea tried fitting in with the other girls at school, and she tried connecting with the other misfits, but she never felt at home. At age 16 or 17, she went to the Winnipeg train station, bought a one-way ticket, and headed east. And she eventually ended up here in Halifax, and right here at UUCH. She writes in her book, "I wasn't looking for anyone to tell me what to believe, what to think, or how to live my life. I understood the value of having a community of people with whom to share a spiritual practice. I had started attending services at the Universalist Unitarian Church of Halifax. In my experience, the Unitarian community was a motley crew of people who did not ascribe to any particular belief system, but respected all the wisdom traditions around the world. The only shared belief being that everyone is there on their own quest for meaning. Some of the people I met there were kindred souls and became lifelong friends. A bunch of questers and questioners. Perfect for me." So I began with a poem by Khalil Gibran about a river being willing to leave it all behind and become the ocean. And Andrea left it all behind and created space to find herself. She eventually became a therapist working with Indigenous youth. She writes, "With the help of elders from my Métis homeland and Mi'kma'ki, I came to understand the power of the 7 sacred teachings: love, respect, courage, truth, honesty, humility, and wisdom." She engaged in a free and responsible search for meaning, and she found her way home. Andrea's book is called Finding Otipemisiwak. Otipemisiwak is the Cree name for the Métis. It means the people who own themselves. The Métis don't fit neatly into the Indigenous world or the settler world. They are both, and they are neither, so they are their own thing. imagine that Mother's Day is complicated for Andrea Curry. She has her adoptive mother, who she grew up with, who hurt her. I'll note that Andrea's biological brother had a very positive experience being adopted into another family. And my own father was adopted into a very loving family. Andrea writes a poem to her adoptive mother. I'm sorry that whatever happened to you happened. I'm sorry you could never talk about it, leaving my compassion for you weak and spindly, starved of your truth. I'm sorry that you could somehow not manage to be as kind and helpful to Rob and me as you were to random strangers. I'm glad you were kind to all those people and kind to animals. I'm sorry your pain and fear and God knows what else prevented you from being able to see Rob and me. I'm sorry I need so much distance to protect myself from you. I'm glad that the distance enables us to be nicer to each other. The poem goes on alternating between I'm sorry and I'm glad, with both truth-telling and compassion. So I imagine Mother's Day is complicated for Andrea Curry. There's also her birth mother. If I understand correctly, she was 38 years old when she found out about her birth mother and connected. She met her birth siblings. Suddenly she had a new family. And it was complicated. It was complicated. Andrea writes, no family is perfect. My birth family, like so many families, contains a mix of love and pain. She wrote a poem about her birth sister. It's called When My Sister Drums. When my sister drums, sparks fly from her eyes, and her smile lights the day like a million suns rising. When my sister drums, a lost child's cries become one with the song and carry her along to where the rivers meet, and the sacred heartbeat keeps us strong. Standing with my sister in the circle, this is what I came here for. Drumming with the women in the circle like so many women have before. When my sister drums, she returns to those rivers, running like the veins in the body of the mother who has never left us. We have known no other. Her waters refresh us, heal us, and bless us. When my sister drums, her pain splits the air, true as any arrow anywhere. From there to here, it flies through fear. When my sister drums, truth comes. There's a Korean American named Jung Young Lee who wrote a book called Marginality. Lee is a professor of theology. He believes that organized religion needs to be reborn. He believes that it can only be reborn on the margins of society. Lee is a Korean American. He's not accepted as either fully Korean or fully American. He's both, and he's neither. He exists in the margins of both worlds. If you too find yourselves in the margins, it's tempting to want to reshape society so that you are at the center. We do a lot of that, but Lee says, don't do that. He says, don't try to reshape society to center yourself. He said, instead, plant new seeds on the margins. The author Toni Morrison put it like this: I stood at the border, stood at the edge, and claimed it as central. Claimed it as central and let the rest of the world move over to where I was. Sometimes you need to move far from home to create something new. We had a guest speaker in January, Carly Merlor, who said that to ask how Unitarian Universalism could flourish in these times, in Halifax or in Canada is to ask the wrong question. Instead, ask the question, how can I connect with my neighbor? How can I connect? How can I create community right here, right now? What do you need that I could help with, or vice versa? How might we share life? These are the questions. In a changing world, she said, don't try to reform our institutions. Instead, create meaningful moments now and grow something new. If we were in England, you might have heard of an environmental activist named Paul Kingsnorth. Paul Kingsnorth campaigned against the oil industry with an urgency that I expect you all understand. But when he saw a wind farm with rows of gigantic high-tech windmills, he thought, this cannot be the answer. The problem isn't merely carbon dioxide levels. The problem is that we are turning the world into a machine. Paul Kingsnorth and his family decided to buy some land in Ireland and grow their own food. Instead of fighting the powers that be, they decided to move to the boonies, plant seeds, grow something new. He hasn't really given up on the big picture. He writes a blog encouraging others to leave the machine, plant seeds of something new. But he says, don't make that choice strategically. Don't move to the boonies to change the world. Only move to the boonies if you are truly renouncing the world. He says the paradox of change is that by renouncing the world as it is, you will change it. But you'll only change it if all you care about is planting seeds and growing a new garden. I'm not trying to persuade you of this. I'm just sharing the points of view of Jung Young Lee, Carly Morlor, and Paul Kingsnorth. So Andrea Curry moved far from home and she grew something new. She had a baby quite a few years later. She writes, I wanted drumming at my baby's birth to honor their arrival and for another reason that I didn't know about until after. My friend had agreed to come with her hand drum, joining the baby's dad and my labor coach and my friend who was taking pictures. We brought sweetgrass into the delivery room, smudged quickly before the nurses could say we weren't allowed to do that. I had some complications from a maverick placenta that separated itself from me before the birth. Alerted by the bleeding, I had come to the hospital and was told I had to be induced. The bleeding stopped just in time and our birthing plan could go ahead with the addition of a fetal heart monitor. If anything went awry, we would cut to the chase and cut the child out of me. I called my drummer friend and told her, it's an hour's drive to the hospital. You could stay home and drum for us there. We would still be held close in that heartbeat. She came. Her drumming ebbed and flowed through the hours of labor, an ancient tidal rhythm I floated on. We turned the volume down on the heart monitor, choosing not to be hypervigilant. We could see the red digital numbers if we looked at the machine, telling us the number of heartbeats per minute. Mostly, we let the nurse attend to it. One time I looked over, saw the numbers going up. My baby's heart was starting to race. Should we be concerned about that, I asked, knowing the main concern was if the heart rate dropped. We'll keep an eye on it, the nurse replied calmly. My friend came to the bedside with her drum, turned the volume up enough so we could hear tiny, rapid heartbeats. Then she began to drum, matching her drumming to the baby's beating hearts. And then gradually, in almost imperceptible increments, slowing her drumming down, and the baby's heart matching her beat for beat. A Métis woman, her birth included both Western and Indigenous ways. So I imagine that for Andrea Curry, Mother's Day is complicated. She didn't reform the culture of suburban Winnipeg. She left to create something new. And she didn't react to the state of the world by latching on to ancient ways. Instead, she explored, and in her search, she wove herself into a living tradition. If you go to her book launch on Tuesday, you might hear some hard stories, but she does not romanticize resilience. She simply tells the story of her life. And near the end, she writes, "Trickster, we need you. Only you can twirl and dance with danger until droplets of your sweat fly and swirl, splintering, simpering praise, making waves from our muted dreams that we can ride to the other side of that river where our laughter is the crackle of lightning, cleaving the weighted air, illuminating an encampment where we gather, grinning and feasting on all the free joy." So on this Mother's Day and in these times, may we plant seeds of life. Now let's take a few breaths. Perhaps notice your breath, or notice where your mind goes. And when someone is ready, we will pass the microphone. If you would like to share a thought. If you do, please come on up so that those on Zoom can see, or I can bring you the microphone, if that works better. And if anything came up this morning that you would appreciate a one-on-one conversation with, please do let me know.
I was here in the church when Andrea was attending, and was there when she found her birth mother. It was like watching somebody survive a bolt of lightning. And I remember her child coming to this church. So it may have been a visit, because I don't know, her child was very young when she was attending regularly, but I remember her child coming back. And so hearing about all this resilience in her new book is like looking and seeing a favorite flowering bush still standing there. I'm very pleased to hear about this.
Today is all about Mother's Day for me, because I am here in Halifax visiting with my daughter, who had a baby 16 days ago. And I am a mother, and she is now a mother.
All right, please rise and body your spirit for our closing hymn. It's number 121 in the Grey Hymnal, "We'll Build a Land." Number 121. The words are going up on the screen. extinguish our chalice. May we carry with us the warmth of compassion, the glow of love, the fire of commitment, and the light of truth. Building your own theology is happening right here at noon. Today's theme is ethics. What is the right thing to do? And all are welcome. Those on Zoom, stick around for conversation, and there is coffee available now in the ballroom. Our service is over after Faith's announcements.
I'd just like to remind everybody of our soup lunch coming up on the 25th. We still need a couple of soups.
Faith?
Oh, sorry. Our soup lunch on the 25th, right after the service. I still need a couple of soups and some desserts. So if anybody would like to contribute to the lunch. And we usually, the proceeds from that lunch usually goes to the Pride Parade. So is it the same this year?
I don't know if we got an organizer, but if we didn't, it's very helpful to have.
So we need an organizer for the Pride Parade.
The ship sailed. Jesus
Our
Christ.
service is over.